I'm Leslie Allen, and welcome to Chapter 2 of Tennis Channel's 12-part series, 50 Years of the WTA. In Chapter 1, we took you back to 1970 and the start of the first full-fledged women's professional tour, the Virginia Slim Circuit. Fast forward to 1973, and women's tennis was on its way to becoming the biggest professional female sport.
I thought it was a very exciting time, mid-70s. It was a nice feeling. You felt like there were never scant crowds. These were fervent audiences, I would say, and devoted tennis crowds, and they took to the women's game.
Sponsors, promoters, and cities that had never previously held tennis tournaments all sought to capitalize on these opportunities. So did long-standing associations and officials. Amid these complicated power struggles, if the players were to make sure they still had a seat at the table, they'd need to take even more steps forward to ensure their success. On the eve of Wimbledon, everything came to a head inside the conference room of a London hotel.
So the battle was really, how can we get all the players from all over the world and all over the countries that were competing in tennis on board to establish an association such as the Women's Tennis Association. And so as we move forward into Wimbledon, it was in the Gloucester Hotel in 1973 that we finally gathered enough of the women in the room.
Billie Jean King tells the story of having Betty Stove, who was a bigger player, just go stand at the doors, don't let them out. And I believe there were 44 players at the time. Her former husband, Larry King, wrote the bylaws, and by the time they left that room, the WTA was formed.
So when you see where women's tennis has grown, it was the 70s that made it grow. It was truly those rivalries with Billie Jean playing and Rosie playing and Virginia Wade playing. And these players, Betty Stove, Frankie Dura, these are names that mean a lot to me that may not mean as much to the current, but they filled the stadium.
I think it's easy to forget what sports was like in the mid-70s. There weren't team sports for women back then. And really, tennis was the one place where adult women could achieve, compete, push themselves, push one another, cry, and didn't have to pretend that they were little girls, because they weren't.
I really never thought of us just as tennis players. We have a platform, we're going to use it, we're just going to absolutely use it like nobody else has ever used it in women's sports. I think we did.
What a year 1973 had been for women's tennis. Equal prize money was given at the US Open, and then there'd been all the attention generated by the Battle of the Sexes. Less than 3 years after the Pro Tour had started, women's tennis was in the red-hot center of both sports and society. More chapters of this exciting story were about to be written, and we'll have the next one for you soon. For Tennis Channel, I'm Leslie Allen.